Hey y'all, hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Sandbox Love Podcast. My name is Aola Matty. Let's talk ball. Yesterday we posted the Final Four preview for the women. So now tonight we're going to do the Final Four preview for the men. Let's talk about it. First game on the list, Duke versus Houston. The battle of the Titans. The battle of offense versus defense. This is going to be a really good game. You got National Player of the Year, Cooper Flagg, versus University of Houston's all defensive team. First off, they have Big 12 Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Joseph Tugler, and they have first team all defense, Juwan Roberts, on the University of Houston, right? So they have multiple first team and second team defenders on their team. They were the number one defensive team in the Big 12, and a lot of pundits would say that they were the number one defensive team in the country, right? It'd be between them and St. John's. But yeah, Calvin Sampson, he always talks up his kids. Calvin Sampson always has a defensive-minded team, right? So those are things you can expect from Coach Calvin Sampson and the teams that he coaches. Houston, the last 3 years, they've been defensive juggernauts. They've been number one seeds. So Calvin Sampson has definitely, brought the University of Houston's program to another level, especially defensively. But again, too, they're playing, the number one team in the nation, which is Duke, that has the number one player left in the tournament with Cooper Flagg. But it hasn't been the Cooper show, to be honest with you. Knipple and Proctor have they've played well, right? And those guys have been projected between 15 and 25 in the NBA draft. They've moved on up on the board, right? Especially Knipple in his shooting, right? Right now, Knipple is shooting 40% from the three-point line, and Proctor is shooting 41% from the three-point line, right? So those guys can definitely shoot the three, but they can also score in the mid-range as well. Where this game could get a little mucky is inside. And Houston, a couple of Houston players have already been quoted as saying that, hey, you got to stop the head of the snake, right? Which is Cooper Flagg, right? But when you have Knipple, and you have Proctor going off as well, it's really hard to stop, right? Cooper can have a decent game, and when I say a decent game, 14 points, 16 points, something like that, and you can still get blown out by Duke, right? It's not a one-man show. And they combine decent defense with superior offense, right? I think they're the most versatile team left in the tournament. Houston leans on their defense. Everybody knows what their traits are. They're a great defensive team. Offensively now, they spread the scoring among L.J. Cryer, who averages 15 points. Sharp averages around 13. Usain averages 12, and Roberts averages 11. So you have 4 or 5 players now averaging, above double digits, right? Which is very good. It shows a balanced scoring, right? But when the chips are down and you need a basket, who are you going to? Right? I think Houston, they've relied on their defense so much that they haven't been in a close game where, they've identified now who's our go-to guy. When we need a bucket, we go to this player, right? That's no fault of their own. It's the competition that they're playing, but it's understandable. But against this Duke team, identities are really crucial. And, no closer or no, guy that you can give it to down the stretch where you need something might come back to haunt University of Houston, right? But, the Cougars are well prepared. Calvin Sampson, will have his guys ready to go, definitely. And this is the true David and Goliath matchup, in my personal opinion. I think Duke far and away is the better team, right? But again, too, if Houston now can come into the game and have a mindset now is that, hey, we're not only stopping Cooper, we have to stop Knipple, right? And we gotta limit Proctor, right? Because at the end of the day, Cooper, Knipple, and Proctor, those guys are great scorers. You're not going to completely shut them down. You just have to limit them, right? And maybe make Malik, Evans, and James now the primary scorers, right? Because at the end of the day, those guys, they average a shade under 10 points a game, but they provide the defense and they provide the toughness, right? So um, that matchup is going to be really interesting. But my prediction for the game is going to be Duke all the way. I think just the combination of their superior offense and their defense, timely defense. That's what I'll call it timely defense, right? Will definitely shut down Houston's lack of offensive firepower and also limit their defensive stops, right? And limit them in transition as well. So my prediction again is Duke. Second game is Florida versus Auburn. Okay. And these two teams, they're coming from the SEC. They're very familiar with each other. They played each other. Last time they played each other was in February. Florida ended up winning the game 90-81. Florida's closer, Clayton, ended up having 19 points. But Auburn's best player, Broom, he ended up having a game of his own. He had 18 points, 11 rebounds. He's a double-double machine. Um, a lot of pundits would say that he is the second best player behind Cooper Flagg. Um, and he has a very interesting story, to be honest with you, right? He started off his collegiate career at Morehead State, right? Not your traditional blue blood, not your traditional even mid-major, to be honest with you, right? Morehead State, I believe, is a black college, right? So he definitely had to improve his skill set, right, to now reach the level that Auburn's at currently, right? So um, he definitely has an interesting story. It kind of reminds me of Cam Newton. Remember, Cam Newton started off his collegiate career in football playing for Florida, then had to go to JUCO, went back to JUCO now, and then went to Auburn, right? And the story with him now is that once he got to Auburn, they won a national championship, right? So, you see where the pundits are trying to take it. You know where the narratives are going, but you know, Florida has a lot of firepower, and very similar to Duke, uh, they're really well balanced. Their play style, they can play. They play timely defense, but they run their offense through Clayton and through the other perimeter guards that they have on their team. Um, Florida is really, really hard to match up with. Um, they have inside presence. Um, the rim protectors, right? But majority of the points comes from the perimeter, comes from the guards, and if they're making their shots, they're blowing out teams, right? If if they're having an okay night, then the game could be interesting, and it might come go down to the stretch. It's going to be close, and when it's close, Florida doesn't waver. Why? Because they got Clayton. Clayton is the ultimate closer, right? And he's the type of guy, he takes and makes big shots. He's comfortable in those shoes, right? So at Auburn, their guards, Mariza, Pettiford, they're going to have their work cut out for them. They're going to have to guard the entire game, um, play sound defense, and if the game is close, they know who the ball is going to, and they're going to have to close, right? I think this game is going to be a lot closer than the first game, and I think Auburn is definitely looking to get their lick back. You know, it's a game that snapped the game that they lost in February snapped their 14-game winning streak. So Auburn knows how important this game is, right, to them and to the university and to get to the final, right? So I expect Auburn's best game. Florida obviously is no slouch. My prediction for the game is Florida to win the game and to beat Auburn again. Auburn plays good. They play inside out. They play through Broom first, right? And then after they have to double or triple team Broom. He kicks it out to the shooters, and that's when the guards get off. So I would say look to Florida to possibly double team, especially if Johnny really starts to really hurt them inside. Look for Florida to start double teaming. And then once the double team comes now, Broom is a capable passer where he can spray it out and find his shooters and find the open man and find the cutters, right? So I think this game is going to be a lot closer. It's going to come down to the stretch. And if it comes down to the, if it comes down to the last minute, you know who the ball's going to in regards to Florida. Clayton Jr. is the ultimate closer left in this NCAA tournament, right? So, again, my prediction is Florida. But again, too, this is just one man's opinion. Tell me what you think. Like, subscribe, share the content with a friend, man. Peace.